me ask you a question. What do these people think they're accomplishing by attacking Joe Manchin? He is a Italian Roman Catholic Democrat in West Virginia, all right? In a state that Democrats had not carried a county since 2008. If you don't have Joe Manchin, you're going to have Marshall Blackman. That's your choice.
That's the best
They
case
are
scenario.
so goddamn stupid. I can't tell you how stupid they are.
Well, can they count to 50? This is my problem. They can't to 50 because, I was watching Bernie Sanders and he's ripping Kirsten Sinema, he's ripping Joe Manchin. Bernie, I understand you're a cranky old man, but at some point you understand that if you're going to get anything that you want, you need all 50 votes. It's just simple mathematics. If Joe Manchin and Kirsten Sinema have provided that crucial 50th vote for appointees, for cabinet members, for the budget resolution. The only reason we're talking about reconciliation, you don't have her or him in the Senate. You have Majority Leader Mitch McConnell. So what is the addiction, James, for Democrats to have a circular firing squad?
My recommendation is get a second grade math teacher and talk to the Progressive Caucus and understand the concept of 50, all right? Because apparently, and maybe some people think that, arithmetic is part of the white hierarchy in the country that, suppresses people. I have no damn idea. But yeah, I can count to 50. I took remedial math twice at LSU, but I can still count to 50.
Yeah, but on Twitter, I wrote a piece, and of course I'm getting the ratio that I expected, and this is okay. This goes with the territory. Tim, you're experiencing this as well, where I said, maybe you ought to remember that, Kirsten Sinema is not just the swing vote. She's the absolutely essential vote. And everybody's like, screw her. We don't need her. We should pressure her. We should write her out on a rail. Like, guys, you need her vote for everything because without her, nothing gets done. For the progressives, there's only two options, right? Right, guys? You either, in the election, you win more elections, you convince more people to vote for you, or you get every single Democrat to go along with you. And I'm not sure that the strategy that we're seeing right now accomplishes either one of those goals.
I agree with you, Charlie, on the strategy, and running into the bathroom and making fun of her for her wine and her bisexuality is probably not a strategy to get her vote. I will say I do put Sinema in a different category than Manchin. I mean, Biden just won Arizona. The other senator is also a Democrat who's not creating any trouble. She voted for Ralph Nader in 2000. So this is not like a long-term principled centrist. We don't exactly know what she wants. I mean, Joe Manchin, not only, as James said, is the alternative between Joe Manchin and somebody I would say far worse than Darcia Blackburn, probably a Josh Mandel type. But he also put on paper to Schumer a very reasonable offer. 1.5 trillion. It was going to pay for universal pre-K and continue the child's tax credit, not for rich people. It wasn't everything that the folks are going to want, and it seems like he's willing to negotiate to the middle. But he at least put something on paper, and he's obviously dealing with this very challenging state. Sinema has been extremely inscrutable about what exactly it is she wants. And she's in a purple state. So I understand that potentially there's you would think maybe that there's a strategic play there to pressure her from the left, say you're going to get a primary if you don't get in line, and maybe that would work. That strategy at least makes sense in a way that it doesn't make sense for Manchin. But stay out of the bathroom. Here's my other problem that I'd love to get James' 2 cents on, since we just get this lovely time together, is like besides not having a good strategy for dealing with Manchin and Sinema. And in this case, I don't want to pick on the progressives so much as the Democratic establishment. It doesn't seem to me like they have a strategy for expanding the map into red states at all. I just, it's hard to find examples of...
Because you need moderates to win in those states.
Yeah, of candidates that are willing to poke the bear. I mean, look, the reason why Joe Manchin wins is because the people in West Virginia think he's on their team. And their team isn't the team that agrees with every single liberal piety and that's in the K hive and that is going along with every Joe Biden thing. And I don't see any of the candidates that are coming up to run in 2022 doing that. And there are a couple of exceptions, but even if you look at your so-called moderates like Connor Lamb, I like Connor. He's running more as like a Mark Kelly moderate than a Joe Manchin, and that might work in Pennsylvania, right? But there's not a lot of where is the creative thinking for dealing with the crisis ahead. And that was kind of the wake-up call I was going for. This is a crisis where if the Republicans take the House and the Senate back and it's a close election in 2024, they might steal the damn election and end our democracy. And so we should probably be trying to be a little bit more lenient about getting people in who are going to be on the right side of that matter, maybe if they disagree. And the Democrats just don't seem to be doing that at all.
All right. I have an answer for you.
Okay, please.
Okay. Let's start with one simple fact. 18% of the United States elects 52 senators. There's your urban strategist. Yeah. All right? Wow. I mean, we're all huddled together in the same places. Yeah. Now, there are Democratic proposals that are very popular across the board that Democratic lobbyists kill in Washington. Namely, who would say the government shouldn't be able to negotiate prices for prescription drugs? Yeah. I mean, that's not a conservative or liberal thing. That's just like, well, of course, if I go in and you buy a lot of something, you get, say, if Hertz buys 100 cars, they get a discount. It's just the way the world works. They're forbidden in Democratic lobbyists who I don't know the names of. Somebody's got to name these goddamn people, because you run into them and they go to the events and they all, meshed in with Democratic elected officers. That's an extremely popular thing. But another thing that's popular is raising taxes on rich people. It's got like 65, 67% support. And the lobbyists kill that. How do you think we don't have carried interest? And what I think people need to do is find out who these lobbyists are and name them. And so you're not in the club anymore, dude. There are any number of proposals that Democrats advance that do nicely. In Florida, I never tire of pointing out, giving felons the right to vote got 64%. All right. Raising the minimum wage to $15 got 67%. That's in a referendum. That's not a poll. That's people going vote. You don't need to reinvent the wheel. In the Democratic quiver, there's any number of arrows that you can shoot. But you're right. People say, well, they campaign on this. Prescription drug prices are still high. My wages are low. Inequality is killing the country. In the public doesn't like this stuff. They're almost demanding it.
So do you guys read Ezra Klein's piece in the New York Times today about David Shor?
I did.
Okay, so just to remind people, David Shor is this brilliant political wonk who actually was canceled when he pointed out that riots actually tend to urban riots actually hurt Democrats, and people say, well, you can't say that. And he was
actually it's worse than that, Charlie.
Okay, so
he retweeted. There was an academic at Princeton. He's now in Pomona, and his name is like Omar Wasso or something. All right, and he retweeted, and I think the guy is black actually. All right, he retweeted a piece of academic research that says that peaceful demonstrations help more in an election than violent. I mean, that wasn't exactly. You had to go to Princeton to figure that out. And ran his ass out of town. I mean, that's that's the brilliance of the progressive movement. Right? All encapsulated.
See, they hate the whole both sidesism, but I mean, what you're describing here is the bubble they've created. Like, we don't even want to hear this academic study that might make us feel slightly uncomfortable, even though it's exactly the kind of warning you need to hear. So. Okay, so
he's also like a socialist, by the way. He's not, a James Carville dino.
Well, he's got a way. And my friend Sean McElwee, they have, they pretty left, but I would say that Sean and David are probably inching toward pragmatism at some level.
Inching toward it. Okay, so he's got this warning for the Democrats.